Thank you, Burvasa. Respected Additional Chief Secretary, Madam, and then Mr. Abbas, the Head of the Forest Forces, then Reddy Saab, Chief Wildlife Warden, Tamil Nadu, and there are several very senior people who have contributed a lot who are with us. Dr. Sundaraj, a very learned and experienced person, PCCF and Chief Wildlife Warden he was during those days, and Dr. Rajiv Srivastava has done a lot, and there may be several other. Dr. John Singh is there. I recognize their presence, and so many of my colleagues who are out there, former colleagues and the young officers who are serving there. Dear participants, ladies and gentlemen, let me start by first thanking the government of Tamil Nadu for giving me this floor. It's really a proud privilege to be here during Gandhi Jayanti Day and to take part in a conversation on a very important subject relating to nature, that is securing the or strengthening the wildlife conservation process and the methods. So, thank you so much. I have some slides. I'll be brief to manage the time. There are many things, so some I may skip. See, let me, the topic assigned to me was, of course, assigned to me is what tiger conservation has contributed, what Project Tiger has contributed to tiger conservation. As we are aware, Project Tiger is a special initiative of the center in the state, launched by the center as a central sector scheme way back in 72-73. To be very precise, on the 1st of April 1973, it was launched in Corbett. So, in 9 reserves, now we have 52 reserves amounting to 2.3% of country's geographical area, out of which 10%, as Madam said, we have in this state, which is very commendable, apart from other milestones what she stated. So, the tiger reserves, the coverage and the practices certainly have put the endangered tiger on an assured path of recovery, no doubt about it. And then, as was highlighted by the ACS, there are and of course, other seniors, there are other contributions which are equally important, because tiger as an umbrella, being an ecological umbrella species, by securing a good future and strengthening the future of tiger, we are assuring the sustainability of ecosystem services. I'll articulate a bit on that if time permits. Then, the tiger bearing forests, we are investing in their protection. So much has been spoken about in the forenoon session. We'll be hearing more from the field director, I'm sure. So, this investment is also helping us to lock the carbon, new carbon, as well as the old one which is there already. If you hack the tree, it will go away. And then above soil, below soil, thus you are locking up the carbon. That's one of the biggest adaptation, not mitigation, adaptation to climate change. Third and the last but not the least, and there is no conversation anywhere whatsoever, barring some peer reviewed literature. We have been flagging this with tiger range countries. That is the dilution effect with these tiger bearing forests provide, and by providing that, I mean they safeguard the distortion of zoonotic cycles. If zoonotic cycles which occur in nature, which are synced with your sylvatic cycles, and now in a right burdened forest country like ours, Your sylvatic cycles are synced with the pastoral cycles. Cattle go in, cattle come out. So, if they get distorted, the vectors which harbor the pathogens, you had Ebola and now you had this pandemic which is ongoing still. You may have something more else in the coming future. So, if you have a good pandemic buffering, you need you are a little bit safe from the spread, whether it is an urban parcel of land, whether it's a rural parcel of land, whether it is a designated forest land, everywhere this has importance. You have see, let's not restrict our vision only to these forests and parks and other things. They are good, they sound good, they are important extremely, as we appreciate, and we appreciate. But the urban, the Madras city case in point, or your Delhi, any metro you take it, you name it, you have so much of urban flora and fauna. Many of them have become pests, many of the urban flora have become weeds. They do also do their bit towards the zoonotic cycles. So, we need to be careful. You need urban buffering in the context of pandemics. You need rural buffering. You need of course, the buffering what we are envisioning here. I may go on like this. So, let me rush through the slides. Next one please. Next slide please. Problem, huh? Anyway, so I need to manage the time. See, our tiger reserves are spread out in 18 of our states, no union territories of course, 18 of our states. Let's before we peep into the contributions what the project Tiger, a very special project, unparalleled, and in terms of its coverage, its magnitude, investment, and India has the distinction of doing this along with the states. It's a very important and I mean a glaring example of everything rests with the state. So, all the action portfolios which go in, they are done by the state. The implementation, to cut the long story short, is done by states. Then, if it chala gaya, I mean, sorry, Dr. Karan Singh, Srimati Indira Gandhi, they were there. Yes, it was a great event, and the task force was constituted under the chairmanship of Dr. Karan Singh. They came out with 9 destinations, 9 parks, some sanctuaries of course, and then it was launched. A lot of guidelines were codified during those times, and during the formative years, it's an outcome. You had the earlier, it was a central sector scheme. Government of India used to support the establishment cost as well of states. Later, it got transformed into a centrally sponsored scheme where the funding pattern is some kind of a sharing. I believe it is 60-40 now. Earlier it was 50-50 for recurring components and 100% for non-recurring components earlier. Then in the character of the scheme subsequently I believe has changed. Good practices emanated in near Dampa in Mizoram. It's not possible because of the rainfall, the biomass getting locked up in the top canopy, and you're not having that kind of ungulates gregariously. So, these things matter. You don't have that kind of life forms. The habitat conditions matter. The growth rate, the exponential growth rate, exponential I mean adjusting the births and deaths. Whatever you get them, it's around 30 to 33%, no doubt. That is the potential in the context of ungulates. Ungulates I mean the cheetal, sambar, whatever they are, the ungulate which make the food the prey of the tiger, but that is the rate for cattle also, livestock also, but you don't realize it, because that kind of a rate you don't will come in ideal conditions or near ideal conditions. You go somewhere near that because of the limiting factors, a shortage of food, that food I mean forage, browse, water, and targeted killings, subsistence poaching, so many things happen. There can never be a dull moment in any wildlife area. It's an open treasury. So you just can't say everything is fine and it's all sealed. No, no, no. That kind of situation, you know it better. Anyway, so the tiger populations exist in several complexes. The Wildlife Institute of India and the NTCA have divided them into 5 major tiger landscapes, and with several other complexes within central India. For example, you have 2-3 complexes that like that. It's a very interesting document available in public domain. Now, coming quickly to what has been contributed in the context of this highly endangered species by this initiative of under the initiative of Project A, what has been really done in the context. Let me just say a few things. Number one, the project, to wrap it up, has just resurrected, I'll use this word, resurrected the species from the brink of extinction. So, if you go to any state, including Tamil Nadu or Karnataka or Rajasthan, and the trophies you see in some of these, there, of course, we don't display all that nowadays, but still people have the old collections and old messes, army messes, so many messes, you find them. And Vanningen now it's not working in Mysore, but if there's a paper, very interesting paper, if you Google, somebody has authored that, I think in 8 or 9 years ago, correlating between the kind of population which could have thrived during that juncture when Vanningen was having a good business, the kind of taxidermy stuffing and other things they were doing. So, it's considerable good number animals were shot, and the bag limits were legitimate. There were permissions given for in the context, and people were allotted in blocks, and all these things happened. So, from that level, near extinction concern was voiced. There was an IUCN meeting, and WWF International played a big role collaborating with Government of India, and something was agreed upon as a starting amount in cash, in kind, and the states also were ready, were convinced to earmark some lands. They were the parks and sanctuaries, as I stated. The number was 1827, if I remember correctly. Dr. Saroj Raj Chaudhary, late forest officer, was interested with the task of carrying out the country level estimation. The Pagma census was done, that the name given to that kind of practice. During those days, that was the best practice available. So, no two spores, no two pug marks would be identical, like your thumb, akin to your thumb impression. That was the law, and then if you get a faithful reproduction of the spoor of the pug mark, then all the characteristic attributes which are there in the pug impression would point towards the individual identity. So, tallying was done, all these things, and then they computerized it, but somehow later there was a need to refine it. That was done. So, the Project Tigers taught us that it's better to bring in more science. So, that was done, and you guys, everyone in the field are doing it. You are doing M-stripes, you are doing so much, and people are collaborating with you. Now, the number went up, as the minister also said in the morning session. So, it has gone up. That's one big thing, fundamental. Then, same thing shown like this, and it was recognized. The kind of camera survey which was done under this to get this number is unparalleled again. We are figuring in the Guinness Book of Record also. There is a mention of this. Now, just I'll just take a few more minutes. Codification of tiger field craft. So many things are there, 32 or 33 things, if I remember correctly, but I'll just say something like it gave us a chance to define the archetypals. Now, by archetypals, we all know, we understand the fundamentals, whether it is Kanha in Madhya Pradesh or whether it is Bandipur in Karnataka or Mudumalai in Tamil Nadu. Some things are overarching and common. You can't say it's not required here. You need protection infrastructure, you need a security plan, you need security audit, you need communication, you need deployment of frontline, you need their capacity building, you need fund flow, you need to have a co-occurrence agenda with the people in the periphery. All these things are archetypals. Whether it is here or elsewhere, they are standard things. Some may ask more, some may require less, but they are there. They are archetypal. But then archetypals don't complete the picture. You need special efforts in several field formations, even within the state. Some are close to borders. Case in point is Pilibhit, Dudhwa. Nepal, say people come and then the people go, something goes with them. Trafficking is an issue of body parts and derivatives. Why only say that? There are other things as well. Some places like in Jharkhand, some places in Chhattisgarh, some reserves are badly affected because of the left-wing extremism. So, again it boils down to the SWOT, strength, weaknesses, opportunity, threat. You have a set of archetypals which let us take it for granted, we need to do that, that is the fundamental. But then that A portfolio needs to be read with the B portfolio, that is the differentiated approach which we normally understand what Tiger governance is all about. A should be read with B. You need support for A as well as B portfolio. So, this approach of examining closely each reserve, each field formation, understanding its strength, weaknesses, opportunity, threat, emanated by implementing Project Tiger, which also emanates from the insights which the project gave in the context of Tiger. A few slides on that, I will not bore you with facts and figures more. So many things I spoke, intelligence gathering, this, that, and field training, I already said all that. Let's go habitat management within the biological carrying capacity. Now, see, let's be very careful about this. I faced a special audit, CNDG para, 68 paras were there when I was in Delhi, only on Tiger. See, as green managers, all of us do face such situations. I mean, for 2.5 to 3 years, I was busy doing this, convincing. So, Mr. Rai was there at that time, who wrote a book also, CNDG. So, see, the team was was under the opinion, go on investing, and the Tiger numbers will go up and come out like a factory. I mean, you do something and it will come out, emerge out. I told them, ye baniya audit nahi chalega. This is not that you go on putting money, you do more business, good turnover. It's not like that. There is something called as carrying capacity. Biological, and I took class, I explained to them this, that, no avail. So it came, it got reflected into 64 different, but then somebody said there's no point in again and again writing to them, go and meet the big man and explain to them. So there was a presentation. They asked me, what do you mean by Baniya audit? I said, this is what it is. The green audit is important. Then can you say this to our officers? I said, of course I can say. Then there was a meeting in Jaipur, there was staff college. Then I said, see, I must give full credit to you for doing that Baniya audit, because but for your Baniya audit, we couldn't have created the NTCA and changed the act, gave a special chapter. So the entire credit goes to you. So please don't, now you have done that and we benefited from that, saying, look what the audit said, to be online with what their objections are, you need to do more. To do more, you need this amendment, you need that. So all this thing happened, but it's not that, so they understood it. So there is a special portfolio called green auditing. You can't imagine, especially wildlife, it's the biological carrying capacity is an important thing. So, and then that has to be read with the social carrying capacity. If you have 100 tigers, then you also should give a rethink on how much more you should embark on the interventions, because they respond readily to your interventions. How? If suppose 1000 square kilometer you have, and 10% of that 1000 square kilometer in distributed in 5 ranges is in the form of glades, grasses. And you have something, an ungulate population of say 50 herbivores per unit area, say square kilometer, for example. Very highly productive, lot of births, lot of deaths, everything, I mean, turnover is good. Then, given that situation, you are having 100 tigers and you have 50 villages outside within a zone of influence. Zone of influence for tiger managers, take it as 3 times the thumb rule should be 3 times the HR. By HR means what to get in the collar, which was shown, collar reading, telemetry reading, the average home range radius of wild tigers. It's 3 kilometer in the Indian context, average, done by WI. Dr. Ramesh is here. He has done a lot in Panna. He'll be articulating more on that. So 10 is a safe thumb rule. Within 10, there are different, 2 collectors may be in charge of those areas, 3, 4 DFOs may be there. Yes, they will be there. And different land uses, 18 or 19 land, all of them definitely are not friendly to tigers, and you can't expect them to be friendly. Tigers make a movement, gene porosity is fundamental. So, these things are important. If you generate more tigers here, you are entering more problems, pushing more problems in the human wildlife interface. Are we ready for that? And what are you going to do them? Pick them up and put them in Arinjaranna Zoo or Manarsi Bagh, Lucknow Zoo? No. So, you have to think like a doctor to a patient, how much more of interventions are required? Can I afford to do that? What is the ZOI? What are the different, because you can't wish away those things. You have to co-occur with them. I am not saying coexistence. Many people write a lot of big books on coexistence. There can be no coexistence with a big cat like tiger. You can only co-occur at a cost. There is a trade-off. So, all of us know that. You can't cuddle with a tiger and say we are living together, drinking the same water. No. The kind, you have 54% of global buffaloes in India. Bulk of them are grazing in your forest. So, where will they go? So, they will have interface thing. There are other smart practices like disease surveillance. Supreme Court has come out with a lot of directives, IAS on that, based on IAS. Then the voluntary village relocation, so much of insights. We got, dabbled ourselves in other areas, collaborating with other sectors of development where tiger is really not the goal. And that became a necessity. And that necessity was learned by implementing Project Tiger. So, tiger becomes ultimately an arithmetic, not only restricted to one sector. You have the contours of tiger management, tiger governance requires engagement with different departments, different things. It's now all the more relevant, important because of the climate agenda. By doing a bit on the tiger front, you are making one step more, going one step more, achieving one more step in the context of your commitment towards the climate agenda. Likewise, you are certainly doing more in securing the sustainability of ecosystem services, and certainly you are adding more to the local livelihood. Case in point is in the last Lok Sabha parliament question, I was talking to my colleagues in the NTCA, 45,000 lakh mandates are generated annually from tiger investment, center state put together. It's a big thing. So, you deploy them as watchers, and they walk with your staff, all the patrolling teams. They are the best wildlifers. So, this is a big investment, and in some countries like Costa Rica and all that, they don't have forest department. They do this only and protect their forests. So, this they call as the PES, Payment for Ecosystem Services. So, India is already doing this. So many states, including Tamil Nadu, they are doing this in the last, I remember 25 to 30 years, but we need to showcase this as well. There are other things, engaging outside eco-development, all these things happened, and notifying core, notifying buffer, and the need for corridor connectivity, we felt all this while implementing the Tiger agenda, and then there were enabling sections provided in the act to make this a statutory requirement. We felt the need for interstate coordination efforts, and there are a lot of good practices which emanated from the field, and this is a thumb rule with which we are familiar. 22 breeding tigresses make a viable population. For a viable population, given a sex ratio of 1:2, 1 male to 2 tigers, not exactly, but skewing towards females, assuming for a moment that only half of them participate in the annual breeding cycle and come into estrus, and half of them are encumbered with a year-old cub, and we are taking neonatal mortality as 50%. A litter of 4, you will have only 2 surviving, and there's a big question mark up to 3 years. So, if they get recruited, well and good, and then the males 22 plus 8, this thing add another 10, 5 intruders, 5 transients, 65 to 70 tigers will be there. And for this to happen, this to be there, you need a area of, given the tiger tenurial dynamics and their advertisements, you need something like 800 to 1200 square kilometer inviolate space. That is, this is also an insight gained by from implementing Project Tiger, ex gracias, different. I'll finish. Another thing, the standard operating procedures, the community stewardship, and then these are the normative standards, and the normative standards don't end with protection. They go, there are normatives for health aspects also. For each we have normatives, and tiger ethology, as I said, there are, I couldn't get hold of that caption what Dr. Ramesh has recently published 5-6 months back. Some which are emerging from the Wildlife Institute of India, their students are doing based on radio telemetry. This is from the western side, Ranthambore, then similar insights from Corbett, so much to through Project Tiger. These are the gains we got, and lot of e-surveillance, use of drones, use of technology, then carrying capacity specific planning and security audit, security planning, me teams going to states, everything is based on the learning from Project Tiger, then M-Stripe, so many things. I'll just stop and end with one slide, and that's very important, I feel. Okay, we have done so much. I mean, this of course is important. We are aware you are doing it, BOMA technique, this, that, revive the prey and the predator. Now they have brought cheetah, so many active management examples, retrofittings. The story on and on. Then not only the national efforts, international, the need for such engagements, bilateral instruments are in place. Let's not waste time on this. Then the Indian Institute of Forest Management was commissioned to bring out, quantify the gains from tiger reserves. These things are done now. Now, the last slide, only one slide. This I have spoken. And global scenario, including India. This is a stability pyramid. We have done this scoring on some other occasion. We'll discuss this. See, tigers have gone extinct in 3 countries abroad in Southeast Asia. The situation is suboptimal in Southeast Asia, optimal in South Asia, and India holds almost 80% now of the global tiger population, wild tigers. Only in the Southeast Asia I can say, based on our day-to-day interactions, in November we will be having another meeting with tiger range countries, GTRP meeting, the Global Tiger Recovery Program. Thai and Indonesia hold hope, other countries difficult. See, this is the last thing. I'm just 2-3 minutes or de dichi. See, the perception, everything will depend on now. I mean, all of us know. See, urbanites, we understand, we perceive tiger or anything very exciting and all that. the urban kid, what is the person, the rural, not only the kid, the adult also, for him or her it's a pest. They can't even attend to their call of nature, tiger will be there and there are casualties. So, for some it's a business. Anything bad on the government front is a good economy for some people. So, they are not able to do, please give us money, we will keep on doing this and help the government. There are such models also. And for some, of course, they are generally concerned. But what needs to be now told very clearly is tiger doing more on the tiger front. Let us forget tourism and other things for a moment. Let us say it's required for as a life support for securing our ecosystem services. You can add the tourism as part of those ecosystem, the gains from tourism. And then what I stated earlier, adaptation, the locking to climate change, and then the pandemic dilution effect. These are the three things, and for this to happen, you need to, your tiger needs to be a mascot of economic growth, green development. If green capital is lost, what is the big deal in getting the growth? It's like what should I say, missing the basic wisdom in pursuit of knowledge. If you are growing very well, GDP is very good, but you have cut all your forests, and countries have done that. It's no growth. So, economic growth, about, I mean, so many gains are there, some I touched upon, then ecosystem, all this will happen if you invest. So, tiger becomes a mascot, and then people, if SMTR is there, now the innovatively state government has got that done by saying Vaigai revival. That is how it is. If you save that, Vaigai gets secured. So, for this to happen, you have to link it with the, you have to envision your agenda, tiger agenda as for the people, for tiger, what you have in store for the people, what you are envisioning and what for the people, and then the zone of influence thing which I spoke about, and then you need to establish revised normatives for the next 10 years, and then you have to ensure that in the areas beyond the forest department, all these 5 or 6 integrations take place. Suppose a river Vaigai passes through 10 tehsils, each such tehsil has to do its bit, and there will be no special kitty for that. In the regular district, without district collector, this can't happen, the engagement outside. Without the district commissioner, this can't happen. So, prominently we innovatively this needs to be, there needs to be a communication, this needs to figure in the district planning system, especially the engagement which we are envisioning outside the tiger source areas. So, why we are doing all this will subsume your ecologically sensitive zones as well. So, last but not the least, I will stop here. You need to say tiger is a multi-dimensional tiger index. Any action on the tiger front is doing a bit more for fostering this index. So, by this index, you are getting linked to SDG goals. We are aware of the Aichi Nagoya Protocol, Aichi targets. We are aware of the SDG. Recently, also they have again refined it. We are aware of the CBD goals. Definitely, I mean, we did this for Munnar, and we linked it. If you do this, you are doing that bit to doing more, for going a bit to in that direction towards CBD. So, when you do that, you qualify to have access to those kitties, and they can't say no to you if you have done all this. You have a rationale, a case built up for doing all this. So, tiger not something we are doing for a lensman, as a lensman's delight or something to have a nice time and come back, but tiger means people, tiger means welfare of so many other things. Thank you very much.